Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Next Best Picture podcast, where I am being joined right now by one of the co-directors from Moana 2, Dana Ledoux Miller. Dana, thank you so much for joining us here to talk about this.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I'm excited to talk all things Moana all the time.
Of course, I mean, Moana was a beloved film that came out in 2016. Here we are now, nearly a decade later. We finally got the sequel that many people have been wondering when this was eventually going to see the light of day. And there was a time, too, where it was discussed that this was going to be going to Disney Plus, but it's arriving in theaters and it's here. It's real. We have another Moana film.
It's very real. It was actually, yeah, it had been in development as a TV show for a long time. But as the story kept developing and it kept getting bigger and bigger, it really and truly only made sense that we would put it on the big screen.
Now, what was the initial element of the story for you that you realized, okay, this, like you said, needs to be on the big screen?
You know, that's it's hard to say. There's a lot of things. I think, when you see that ocean in that first film and you just kind of feel the vastness and the scope of the world that Moana lives in, it started to become very, very early on, it started to feel like it just didn't make sense to have it on anything smaller than like a movie theater screen. But more than that, as we're building out this story and we're thinking about who Moana is going to go up against. She goes up against the lava monster in the first film, and in this film, we decided on pitting her up against a monster storm cursed by the gods. And as
Hmm.
we're building and developing that, I mean, it's massive. We have her going over like 60-foot waves, and you just can't do justice when you're watching on your TV screen at home. But more than that, I think she is a heroine that's just so beloved. It's like we need to carve out space for her. And I mean, people are pretty excited that it's in the theater, so I think we made the right choice.
Yeah, I think so as well. It's like you said, certainly got a scale to it that is worthy of the big screen. And we know, big or small, there's a huge fan base for this, and a lot of people are going to want to show up and see the continuing adventures of Moana and Maui. So
I hope.
as we go through this here, I'm curious to know. There's three directors who worked on this. There's yourself, there's Jason Han, and then there's David Derrick Jr. This
Yep.
is technically your feature directorial debut after the short film that you previously directed. So walk me through
It's all of
Duty.
our feature debut, by the way, all three of us.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize. I could have sworn at least one of you. Okay, so now I have even
Nope.
more questions. All right. So, who does what exactly, and how do you all communicate to organize such a big project like this?
Well, I think you hit on it. It is a big project. We have over 700 people on our crew. And I think what's worked really well for all of us is that we come from well, I at least come from such a different place. Dave and Jason both started as story artists. Jason's came up through the Disney system for the last 20 plus years. Dave's been at other places and he came to Disney for the first Moana. And so they sort of look at the world from this visual perspective as we're crafting this story. And, I'm a writer. I started in television.
Yeah.
This is my second feature that I've co-written. The first one being the live action Moana. There's a lot of Moana in my life. And so I also have this very different perspective coming in. And I think that's really helped us as collaborators. I found that there's a lot of similarities in animation to television writing, in that it is
Mhm.
such a collaborative medium and you're constantly changing and building and developing. And so we really just tried to lean into our strengths and lean on each other in a lot of ways. Jen Lee and Jared Bush were our co-executive producers, and Jared wrote the script with me. We really became this team.
Mhm.
We made the movie pretty fast. So it really took all hands on deck, and I'm so grateful that we had a team to do it.
Well, yeah, I'd be curious to know about that part of it too. When you guys decided, okay, we're bringing this from, like you said, television to the big screen, was there already animation completed, finalized, and you had to like translate this over somehow?
Um, if only it were as simple as all that, Matt.
Let
Uh,
me guess, you
there
just
have
had to
been
basically start from scratch, right?
Well, there had been a little bit that had started in production on the television show, very minor, but really, some of the core fundamentals of the TV show still live, like especially the theme. We really held on to this idea that this is a story about Moana's continued growth, her continued evolution, and a story about community. Like those were the pillars that we sort of built our film on. But yeah, it was last fall that we started outlining it as Jared and I started outlining it as a feature as opposed to a TV show.
Wait, I'm sorry. Last fall, as in like 1 year ago today.
As in 1 year ago today, or this now.
Every single person that I interview that works on animated feature films tells me how these are laborious 7 year long process. Like the what? No,
Well,
that's insane. How is that
it's
even
the truth.
possible?
Well, I mean, it's possible because it started as the TV show. So we had some
Mhm,
elements, our characters had all been developed. We'd done a lot of development work on figuring out who they are,
mhm,
how they fit into Moana's universe. And so we had huge set pieces that had already been built and we held on to all of those things. And really the movie is about streamlining the story so that it's
mhm.
Moana's story. And so everything sort of started pointing in that direction. But we used a lot of what our artistic teams had already created. It was just sort of about repurposing it so that it made sense for Moana's hero's journey. Um, but but no, I don't recommend 1 year.
No, I can't imagine. Like, okay, who on the production side is like the unsung hero for
Oh,
bringing this, yeah, to the finish
oh,
line?
so many, truly. Like Yvette Marino and Christina Chen, who are our producers, are exceptional. And like if I was them, I would have lit my hair on fire. But they did such an incredible job of rallying our department heads and our VFX supervisors, Kyle Odermatt and Carlos. Oh my gosh, Carlos, don't murder me. My mind just went totally blank. Anyways, Kyle and Carlos, like we had spreadsheets that were minute by minute by minute, like mapping out for months how we would finish the film. And I think that there was, you know, 8 months ago, there was a lot of fear that we wouldn't do it. But I have to say that, this is my first animated project at all. I really had no idea what I'd been walking into. And I could not be prouder of or more in awe of the artists that worked on this film. Like, truly, the problems that they solved collaboratively to get this movie done on time in a way that we never had to compromise on the visuals is was truly exceptional to watch.
I was going to say the visual continuity from the first film to this one is pretty seamless throughout. And I would imagine that if I had seen this on Disney Plus, might have retained the same feel, might have looked similar, but I also imagine too there might have been a budgetary constraint here or there, possibly.
Yeah,
I'm
theatrical release changes things a little bit.
I was gonna say, so imagine what you can do now with the same budget, but more time next time around, you know?
Ooh, don't
Um,
tempt me.
so in talking through, I don't want to give anything away necessarily in terms of the story, but tell me about getting the cast back on board, right? Because you have the returning voice cast here, Dwayne, Ali. Tell me about like just was that always something that was always going to happen regardless, or was there like any finessing to convince them? Like,
I mean, I don't think that it's really hard to imagine an animated version of Moana without the two of them. They've
mhm.
truly become sort of the heart and soul of this. And, I'm not a negotiator. Thankfully, that is not my job. But um, what I love so much about working with Dwayne and Ali on this project is that they have grown with these characters over the last 8 years. For Ali, she was 14 when she was cast. She was 16 when the first film came out. She's
Yeah,
grown into this incredible young woman. She's been on this journey with Moana for so long. And, both of them are Pacific Islanders. So,
yeah,
Dwayne's Samoan, Ali's Kanaka Maoli, she's Native Hawaiian. And so it's so deeply personal, but it's also something that has shaped their careers in new ways. And so, they love coming back to these characters as much as we're grateful and thankful that they've come on this journey with us. And I swear to you, the second they both walk in the booth, it's like a switch turns on and they are Maui. They are Moana. And it's really incredible to watch.
absolutely. And you have a couple of new characters as well to expand Moana's world a little bit more for audiences and for her as well. Which character presented the most unique challenge for you to bring to the screen for the first time?
Unique challenge. I can only pick one. No, I'm really excited about our new character, Matangi. She's
Mm,
a demigod,
yep.
second demigod that Moana comes in contact with ever in her life. And
Hmm.
she just brings such a different energy than Maui. And she has this killer song. She's played by Afimai Frazier, who's just a powerhouse. But, to bring a new, like, larger than life character into Moana's world and have her feel different than Maui, serve different purpose in Maui. Like that was a really big challenge as a as a co-writer of the script with Jared Bush. Like the two of us figuring out what her voice would feel like. She comes into Moana's life at a very important time when Moana's has to choose a path, and that's sort of going to dictate the future of her people. And how do you make someone that is mysterious and entertaining and funny and can sing and like fits all of the things that you need in a musical into this very compact space within the film and is memorable? And I'm like, it was a challenge, but I'm really excited about her, and I think people are really going to love her.
And speaking of continuity as well, not just in terms of like the visual elements of the film as well, but I remember when the film first got announced and it was said Lin-Manuel Miranda would not be one of the songwriters on the film. Everybody was like, "Oh, what are they going to do? What's happening here?" But you have Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear here, along with Mark and Opataya, the
Hmm.
original composers and co-songwriters on the film. So I'm curious to know, like, what did Abigail and Emily bring to this to kind of fill the Lynn gap? Because I thought that the songs that were included in this film retained the same energy and spirit as the original,
Yeah, I mean, I don't envy them walking into that space. That's a really difficult space to
right?
step into. Those are big shoes to fill, but I couldn't be happier with what came out of this collaboration. I think the combination of them with Opataya and Mark Mancina, Opie and Mark really set the foundation for what the world of Moana's music sounds like. And so we got to start from that. I mean, the work they did with Lynn in the first film was exceptional. And it was really important to us that we didn't reinvent it, but that we just built off of that foundation. And so then we bring in Emily and Abigail, and they're two young women
Hmm.
who have gone, on their own incredible career journeys at a very early age. They've stepped into leadership roles and they've just blown people away with their talent. To then come in and say, "Hey, can you relate to this young woman who has gone far beyond the bounds of what her people ever thought was possible, and write some songs about her?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." Like you don't even need to
Hmm.
explain anything else. We understand the assignment because they're living this journey in so many ways, and they're just really incredibly talented, and not just as, musicians, but as storytellers. And so they they work so hard. They work so fast. They're just so inspired by the material that I no complaints. I
I
love
don't
the
blame you.
music.
Moana, as said in the movie, technically not a Disney princess, but seeing as how, without giving anything away, of course, how this film ends.
Mhm.
She is charting a whole other new path for herself, with new adventures possibly that could, whether it's in the realm of television or another film down the line. Um, are there already talks in development of where Moana's story goes next? Because I'll tell you this right now, we don't want to wait another 8 more years. Sorry, make it 6 or something, but seriously.
We just finished the movie a couple of weeks ago, so I think we're all just in that like taking a deep breath and
Yeah.
let's get it in the theaters before we can think about anything else. But I love that. I mean, that's exactly the response that we dream of. I think I started as a Moana fan and I got to come to work every day for the last actually 2 years because I was on the project before it got turned into a feature, and play and write stories and craft a movie about the hero that really and truly changed the way I saw myself as a Pacific Islander. And so I'm always eager to spend time with her.
Yeah. And if I may ask then,
Mhm.
if you can, are you allowed to say beyond the world of Moana, anything else that you're working on that we can look forward to hearing your voice in the future on?
Oh, aside from the live action Moana, which is about to wrap, I've been pretty entrenched, but I'm really excited. It's been my dream to direct, and now to have this opportunity. I'm pretty eager to go try my hand at live action directing next. So hopefully you'll see me there.
All right, all right. I like the sound of that. Well, Dana, thank you so much for the time here. I really, really appreciate it. Of
Thank you.
course, everyone knows the film is called Moana 2 in theaters November 27th. I'm sure for families all over the world, it'll be a great holiday treat. So thank you once again.
Thank you so much. So nice to meet you.
You as well. Take care.
Take care. Bye.